welcome to the Bitcoin Consciousness podcast. Here for round 3. I'm excited to welcome back Monika Bravo. Thanks for coming on, Monika.
Hey, Cale. I'm so happy to be here again.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. As we were doing our pre-session meditation, we were just talking about how we wanted this conversation to be rooted in being present with one another and being driven by genuine higher curiosity. And it got me thinking about how some of my favorite musicians, their bands, started for them as a side project, actually. So they had kind of a main band, but then they started a secondary passion project. And it really turned into something quite big for these two bands in particular that I'm thinking of. And it's quite amazing how genuine value will just shine through in that way.
That's true. It's interesting. I'm thinking when you say that, I don't know if I have a side project. I'm about to relaunch my website. I haven't done that like in 10 years plus. And the main reason is because in the last few years, I've been really calling myself a polymath rather than just an artist or an astrologer or a Bitcoiner. There's so many labels and so many things that really define identity at this point that I'm kind of like, don't want to be defined by anything anymore. So I just created all things. Actually, I'm going to launch it like in the next 2 days. And it was beautiful to go back and try to see if I were to show up right now, what do I say about my work? Do I define myself as an artist alone? And I talk about my career, X amount of years and successes and all that? Or should I say that since I've been a Bitcoiner, I've taken a different path in my life internally? It has really opened up my consciousness, not just Bitcoin, but a lot of other stuff. So it was like trying to find a way where this merged without being labeled as one thing. So that was something that it was happening in the last year. And I'm kind of like feeling that we're in a crisis of identity in this world. A lot of people are really suffering because they feel that they need to identify solely with one idea, whether it's political, social, or whatever. It's just there's this polarity all the time. And I'm feeling the other way around. I'm feeling like I had done that. I had let go any kind of fixed identity. So when you do that, you just basically stand naked and you go, who am I? And you go, well, I don't know. I can be anything I want. But then how do I want to show up when you meet somebody says, hey, my name is Monika, and what do you do? And all these things that at the very end, they no longer resonate with me as much as I did, say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So it's this it's not a new persona, because I don't want to use that word, but it's more like allowing myself to have a space where I can breathe, where I can move, where I can feel, where I can be with no constraints. And then I'll see what happens next. Because I do feel that we're in this new dawn. I am on the other side of the optimistic lane. I'm not, things are really upside down, but I'm already building stuff. So I'm no longer in the, oh my God, we're all going to die. Yeah, of course we're all going to die. And things are really messed up. Yeah, of course they are. But I'm more like, in the meantime, I'm just chopping wood and making fire, and cooking something. That's what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Yep, I can agree with you very much on sort of like this fluidity of identity, and that idea sort of gets convoluted anymore because the the mainstream idea of having fluidity has a lot to do with, like, if you were to say that now, kind of in mainstream circles, it would be more relating to like the gender stuff and sexual identity and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, that is still an identification. It's just one that's not particularly popular, or in fact, it's one that's quite controversial. And what you are talking about is essentially having the fluidity in your own personality. Um, it's about not being attached to really the things. It's just things and activities, and being able to let go of certain habits, certain ways that you act, not even just around other people, but at home. And it's like, what activities can I let go of? What do I no longer really resonate with? And it's not even, doesn't have to be bad things either, or things that kind of weigh you down. These can be things that you really enjoy doing regularly. It could be meditating. It's like, well, I don't really find myself feeling in a season of somebody who meditates right now, so I'm going to focus on more action based kind of things. So
Yeah, it's interesting because at the very end, there's this all adage. I mean, some people say it was Gandhi who said it, but I did some little bit of research, and it comes from India. It's like, every thought becomes an action, and every action becomes a I forgot, habit. And
yeah.
habit, when you do it many times, it defines your character, and then it's your destiny. So we were talking before we started recording about action, movement. And when you move, you always get a different orientation. You decide whether you go left, right, front, back, up, down. There's always a direction. And when you create that consciously, you probably can orient yourself in an axis that will take you somewhere. Even if you don't know where you're going, you start going there, right? But with no expectation. You just say, well, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm just going to dance for a while. I've been doing a lot of movement, so I do a lot of fashion movement, but I also do dance, and I do crystal ball singing, and I'm just like enjoying so much be with myself in different states of meditation. It's not just only sitting. There's so many different places, things that I can do with my body, my mind, my spirit in one particular moment for a lapse of time that can take me to a place of I don't know, like resonating with the universe, that I don't have to achieve anything. See, that rat race is already gone. Like it's 6 years I'm in Miami Beach, and I just don't feel the pressure at all. But I'm still working. I'm still achieving stuff.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing the whole thing, but there's no pressure from the outside. There's no pressure that tells me that. And actually, when I started noticing through 2025 that the old world was kind of ending, I started kind of breathing like, okay, where would I like to be next year? And I started thinking, I said, I don't know. So I thought, what about giving myself the time of not knowing and just being? And so that's what has taken me into like more being and less knowing. And that has given me different perspectives that I never thought that I could be interested in, because before I was completely taken. Again, the identity. I've been writing my second book, and so I'm writing about same things but differently, deeper. And so I'm thinking a lot about that ideas live in this non-local place. Ideas are non-local, like Plato called them, non-locality is also called metaphysics. It's beyond physical world, and that's where the ideas. And then when you repeat these ideas X amount of times, you start having an ideology, same root. And the ideology, with a little bit of time and a little bit of participation from other people, institutions, becomes an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're unconsciously becoming identifiable with things that sometimes, if we don't know what we're doing, we end up becoming this person. And then one day you wake up and you go like, I don't want to be like that. And then there's a crisis. So I feel like I've been meditating a lot on that and say, well, I cannot completely let go all identity. And but if I can play with it, how would it feel? So that's why I bring like the whole idea of the polymath, which is somebody who's very interested in many subjects. And then I just synthesizing. I'm just making the big soup.
Yeah.
And eating it every day. Yeah.
Awesome. So how has this work been with your latest experience, the What'd you call it, a retreat that you went on?
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm very intuitive, right? So around 2 years ago, was it 2024? So my mother passed 2023, and like half a year later, I don't know, I was on Instagram scrolling, da, 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 and there's this person that appears on the feed, and a very strong person, like Italian, thick accent. He lives in Australia. His name is Tiziano. And whatever he's saying, it just completely gets into my heart.
Hmm.
And I don't know what he's doing. He's just talking. So I listened to it once, twice, and every time he will appear, I was like, this guy is very wise, but nothing. And one day, just like that, I said, I don't know what he does, but I'm going to get an appointment with him. So I looked and I booked him, and he was on a waiting list. So I think 4 months later, I have the appointment. And it happened to be the day that my mother was going to be the first year anniversary of her death, of her passing,
Mm-hmm.
which is September 11th. That for me is a big date because I was in the towers, blah, 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 blah. So I call him and we talk, and I have no idea what this session is about. Like, no, and I don't do research. Like, he speaks to me, I feel it connected, but I'm not going to go to the web to try to find out who he is, if he's has a degree. Like, I don't care about those things. It's like he spoke to me, I want to have a session. So in the session, he basically, that lasted really 15 minutes or less. He basically asked me what do I want, and I said, today is my mom's anniversary, first anniversary of her passing. And one thing that we had in common with my mother is like she lost her father when I was more or less the same age I lost mine. So he said, oh, that's very interesting. And just to put in parentheses, what he does is called family constellations, systemic constellations, which is like that's the practice. So he basically said, close your eyes and go and sit next to your grandfather. I never met my grandfather because he died when my mom was young. But it was so interesting because he asked me to say certain things. I just repeated like a parrot. I had no idea. He was not recording. I was not recording. Blah, 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 blah. And then he says, we're finished. And I'm thinking like, we just started. And he goes, oh, that's it. This is very powerful. And I said, okay. And then he said, you will notice some changes in the next few days, few months, but you will notice them. And I said, okay. Next day, I woke up with kidney stones. You don't understand how painful those things are.
I
Like
can't
I never.
imagine. Yeah.
It's like somebody stabbed you in the back. So I didn't know what it was. So I I know about stones and cleansings and stuff like this. I've done a lot of stuff. So I had stuff for cleaning, and I think I remember taking a painkiller because it was like somebody was stabbing me. And then I called a friend and he's a doctor, so Bitcoiner, and I said, look, can we have a Zoom? I just want to tell you where it's hurting. Like where, and he goes, oh yeah, those are for sure. Go and get a lab thing. And I said, no, I don't need a lab thing. I know that these are kidney stones. So I cured them. And in 1 week I was fine. And I didn't forget about it, but I noted, okay, whatever, kidney stones. So 6 or 7 months later, I received this image in a dream that I have to ask my brother the day of my grandfather's birthday. I didn't know. And he tells me that, and I do his chart and I put it next to my chart and I go, holy moly, right? This is like, this guy's telling me something. So there were a couple of things in his chart that they were very, very important because our charts are together in many aspects, like degrees, exactly.
Really?
And one of them was his Saturn, which is crystallization, ancestry. It was exactly on my moon. That is my image. So there's something that he gave me. I mean, those kidney stones is something that is in my ancestry that is being sort of crystallized and frozen, right? And then when I find out, I call my aunt and I said, well, what did he die of? And he goes, oh, he was such an angry person that he died from a stomach ulcer. And I said, wow. And so I look at his Mars, which is the energy of anger, and my Mars are exactly in the same degree and areas, but his has something, another asteroid, whatever, something called Black Moon Lilith there. So I thought, oh my God, he was unable to speak up. Something was happening. So I actually asked my aunt a little bit about my grandfather. What was his life like? Because I never asked for those things.
Right.
She told me a little bit this, and I was talking to my therapist kind of like the next day, and I told him about everything, and he goes, "But who's this guy? How does he know?" And I said, "I don't know. He's doing something systemic, constellations." And my therapist is an astrologer, and he's done a lot of something else. It's called, I always forget what it's called, but it has a lot to do with like psychic stuff. I forgot the name of it. I will remember.
Okay.
So he's very close to like working with the unconscious. So for him it was nothing weird. It was just, oh, so he tapped into this other morphological place in the universe, and you're tapping there, and so the kidney stones come and they represent that pain and something like that. So I was very curious after that. I was like, wow. And so I figured out that I was kind of inheriting. We all inherit things from our parents and our grandparents. So if there's a lot of rage, it comes through you. If there's a lot of feeling of sadness or depression, it comes through you. If there's like I don't know, a lot of like lack of boundaries, it comes through them.
Yep.
And so it explains everything. So
I mean, this is like the true basis of genetics, right? I mean, modern science completely not discredits, ignores, like the energetic blueprint, which gets passed down from person to person, and that's why but ultimately why we look similar is because we have the same genetic blueprints energetically, and then they manifest in similar bodies and then similar health conditions. It's all it's all the same.
Yeah, and then we are in the same environment. So I mean, one of the things that I've been studying for a while is epigenetics. It's like if your environment is sound, it doesn't matter how bad genetics you have, you can actually make things better because you're surrounded by good stuff. If you are surrounded by hatred and pain and stuff like that, no matter how good you are, you're just going to end up like in a difficult place. It's going to be uphill. But you bring those things from your father and your mother. And so I knew that the name of this Italian is Tiziano. I knew he was going to come to America, and I said, I'm going to do it. Also because of him, I joined these other groups, and it's like he opened a window for me to be with other people that they're kind of connected to him, like by coincidence, fate, doesn't matter. So that happened, and I had the chance to go to Vancouver. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago? And I knew that it was not just going to be a ride in the park. When you go over there and you want to do this, it's like, okay, you're ready to open up the lid and allow things to come out, because what's going to come out is. So I had noticed a few days before that I was losing my temper a lot. And this is something that I've been working on a lot. Like, I'm not an angry person, but I use anger creatively. Like, I have learned for a long time to use my anger or like the frustration into something like, okay, let's make a video. Let's write a piece of writing. Let's do something creative.
Sure.
And I channeled super well.
Really?
But what was coming was not anger, it was rage. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. And I noticed, and actually this morning I wrote a poem it's called Little Reggie, because it's my rage. That when I'm very little, and I discovered that through the constellations that happened that day, that the rage of me having lost my father, like, I contained it so much because I didn't want to tell people how ashamed I was that I lost my father. He died in a car accident, and then I changed of school, and I kept it for myself. And this thing happened during the constellation. My fists were always like this, and I was angry. I didn't realize that I do that sometimes, and it's just I'm containing the anger of like, why did I lose my father? Why did I lose the person who was protecting me?
Right.
And so because of that, I became a very feisty little shit. I mean, don't mess with me when I'm angry, because I will kill. Like,
Yeah.
So that's what's emerging right now.
You sort of wore it on your sleeve, right?
Yeah, but I was very good because of meditation for many years to kind of, I don't say contain it because I don't contain it, but be always looking for the response rather than the reaction. And I've been really good
Okay.
for 30 years. Really good. I don't engage, disengage. I did a lot of martial arts and everything. But something is happening in the last weeks that is asking me to deal with the rage because I just discovered that underneath everything, there was rage.
Mm-hmm.
And because I said, all right, let's open up, it came out like crazy. Like, those Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, what are we going to do? So the last few weeks is about me not putting it down, not just allowing it to be. But I've been afraid because it's coming out.
Yeah.
And so the whole constellation is like, I mean, I cannot really explain to you what happens there because what happens is that this person is so good. He basically asks you what you want to work. So I told him a little bit about what's going on in my family.
Yeah.
And so you pick, or he picks 2 people or 3 people, and they represent some people in the family. And then a lot of things start happening because these people, by coincidence, when I pick them or he picked them, they actually have the same issues. So basically, this big group ends up working together on the same issue because every family has the same issue.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it's like picking up from like the psychic place, like it's like a library of feelings. Everybody's kind of downloading it in the room, and everybody's sobbing, and everybody's like, and everybody's screaming. And so it's like a little bit cuckoo,
Yeah.
but it is so healing. I was devastated when I came back. I did not sleep well for 2 days. I got sick because I think that what was happening is like everything was going through my body was faster than like what my body could contain. So it took me 10 days to kind of settle.
Yeah.
It was weird and it was intense. So since then, I've been integrating a lot of it.
Yeah.
This morning, I had a good cry. So that's when I wrote the poems. I'm finishing my book. And so there's a lot of poetry in the book. And I said, we have to make a little poem to this little girl with her fists.
Right.
She's
The
so
rage.
angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rage. And she's angry because, I mean, when you're 8 and one day you come back, I mean, you don't have a daddy anymore and your life changes. You're angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're angry. And I'm not angry at my mom, but another thing that happens with this systemic constellations, and this was created by a guy in Germany called Bert Hellinger. I mean, amazing. But he was in South Africa I think he was a missionary, so he was studying the Zulu uh, people there, and he noticed how their tribe kind of behaves. So he brought a lot of this mirroring from observing people behavior, and he came up with this system. And basically, what he says is like you have to receive your father and receive your mother. It took me a few days to kind of go like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, receive.
Right.
It's like accept, but it's deeper. Because when you accept, you're almost like negotiating. All right, no,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's
Yeah.
you accept where you come from. You actually speak back to them. And so it's been with my mom is easier because since she died, I speak to her every day. But with my dad, I realized that I actually shut him off a long time ago, so I don't remember him
Mm-hmm.
the way. But I created a projection. So every single relationship I had with any human being since my father died is a projection of I miss him. And that's why I'm so angry, is because the rage is actually telling me that I don't have anybody else to feel it with. So I have to deal with the anger.
Wow.
And I know, yeah, that's like,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's years and years of work you've probably done in, a few hours.
Yeah, well, I'm putting things together. My second book is called The Art of Synthesis, The Architecture of My Value. And it's a, like you got the first one. The first one, I'm explaining to myself who I am because I don't even understand who I am. So I explain myself. This with this with this, like very didactic.
Mm-hmm.
This one is like a conversation I'm having with all the people that have influenced me in literature, poetry, philosophy. So I have conversations with them. I even have conversations with Satoshi, like, I'm just talking, and then I come up with the synthesis. And basically, it has the form of the vertebra of the body. So I'm going to start with the head.
Hmm.
You have the inspiration, and then it goes through the cervical, then the thorax, then the lumbar, sacrum, and the coccyx. And so it's built, and that's why movement has been very important for me, because I'm writing it very somatically. It's not about ideas. Yes, there's some ideas, but then how these ideas become part of my body and they become an experience.
Right.
So it's a journey. I don't even know if I'm writing it for anybody else other than me, which I will be happy some other people read it. But to be honest, between you and me, the secret is for me. That's it. It's just for me. No expectation.
Yeah.
It's just for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's how we started this conversation. It's just, we're doing this, we're recording it to share with other people, but the inspiration is coming from genuine curiosity and just, wanting to catch up and connect. So, and I think, and that's what inspires me a lot about you, is it sounds like you have so many things going on, but they're not in kind of the typical busy entrepreneur kind of way, where, because I've been listening to a few of these people now, like on Robert Breedlove's podcast, he talks to a few people like this, and a part of my, I would say, personality or attachment, I have like an attachment to the ideas of these people who get up early and they have these rituals and they have these to-do lists and the way that they set goals. I think that's, I still think that's pretty cool and admirable. But I have a hard time sort of mixing my spirituality with those ideas, because when I try to embody that person, that entrepreneur who, has all the rituals and, works through failure after failure after failure, and even like loves the failure kind of thing, it just doesn't work for me. Like I get exhausted, and, I think that my spirituality, there's something here for me to learn. And I think that while I do want to experience, building all these things and creating all of these things, I think that drive is sort of coming from a couple different places. I think that for me, it's coming from a higher place. I think that I have a genuine, like, passionate desire to build stuff and to, I would say, connect with people and inspire people. That's a big one. And I like managing, I just like managing energies. I like managing people and delegating, that kind of thing. But then there's also the side of me that's like, okay, how can I make money? How can I impress other people? And so when that second personality is the one that kind of takes over and drives a lot of the actions, then it gets burnt out really quick. And that other aspect, the more spiritual aspect, kind of gets left behind. And it's like, just overwhelmed by all the stuff that it needs to process, and then it's like, all right, I don't know how to help. I don't know how to help you.
There should be a harmonic, and I use the word resonance. It should be a moment where you find your groove. You find like the beat of what, like, okay, if you resonate more with the idea of flow, with the meditation, but then certain times a day you just, you compress this about having more like habits, and more organized, like a structure, without having to leave one or the other. Because I
Right.
think I understand what you're talking completely, because I'm very much like, ooh, but then there's a part of me is like, okay, we gotta figure it out. I'm self-employed, so I have to take care of the stuff.
Right.
But and not to speak bad about any of those people in the podcast and everything, they are. And this is one thing that I have against influencers right now. Is like they're selling their thing that works for them.
Yeah.
That's why they're selling it. That doesn't mean it's going to work for anybody else. That's why I just go like, and they can do whatever they want, because people are really free to do whatever they want, and I allow them, because I'm nobody to tell them not to do it. But what I have noticed is like the more people claim that they have I don't know, like they found the formula,
The cure, right?
the more
Whatever. Yeah.
skeptical I am, because I don't care about their formula. I want to be able to be authentic and do my thing.
Yeah.
And that's where things actually start weaving
Yeah.
in a way that is, you're not working for something
Right.
else or outside of yourself, but you're bringing, or you're bringing your inner authority to the world, and you say, hey, there are all my gifts, and then you become good. Like if you, for instance, you don't know how to charge people. I mean, with AI right now, you can program. I spent the last 6 months creating a whole operational system. Like I have my own OS, and I have incredible way of making systems, and that's one of the good things that I have. And I thought, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become like, before I was efficient, I'm going to be 10 times more with the machine. So it's been great. And parts where I really didn't want to do, that's where I really put a lot of concentration. So the machine can help me deal with stuff that I don't really want to do. And I've been learning more. I'm good with contracts. I'm good with the leverage. I'm good with like standing for what I believe and I feel that is like valuable for me. But still, it's never too late to learn more techniques.
Mm.
So that's what I've been doing. So been surprised with the idea of like asking help. And the interesting thing is like I organize it in such a way that I'm asking Monica because it's my operating system, and it's filled with everything. So I'm not asking the machine to tell me. I'm just asking a wiser Monica how to put things together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool how you can give AI certain personalities. And that's kind of what you're doing anytime you use it, right? Because you're forming sentences in the way that you speak, and so it interprets them and kind of spits them back in similar language. And so when you give it certain context that says, "Hey, I need you to step in the role of like a CFO or a chief
Yeah.
marketing officer or something like that," it is absorbing a little bit of your personality at that time and reflecting back a little something similar.
But you know what really helps? I mean, this I'm giving ideas to everybody. Because I'm an astrologer and I do human design, and I've done a lot of these systems. And I know myself very well, and I've written a lot, so I write every day
Mm-hmm.
for decades, and I
Yeah.
put everything there. I organized Monica. It's like there's a codex of me in that machine.
Yeah.
And so when I asked Monica, the wiser, I said, let's organize this in a way that it's not this, but let's do that.
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting because there's some lack in me about like certain things that I'm not too precise about. So that's where I'm really developing more knowledge so I can bring those things that they were deficient in me.
Sure.
Because I was good at this, good at that. So it's interesting because I'm not interested in what other people are doing. Actually, since I started doing all this, I withdrew a lot from society because I'm having a blast working with me. I'm just like me and all the Monicas. We're like, ooh, like having a lot of good time, organized and efficient. Because for me, being efficient and productive is very important. Otherwise, I don't want why sit down so many hours in front of a computer? Like if I'm not achieving something,
Sure.
it's not to watch movies. It's not to scroll nonsense. Like I don't give my attention to things that are not productive anymore. That's been a long time. I don't do that. I don't even watch movies.
Yep.
I don't even read books physically, but I listen to them because I can go for a walk and listen.
Yeah, multiple things at once. Yeah, that's efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, efficiency and then productivity, and then there's something that I can get out of in a way, not like extract information, but more like, oh, I have 10 minutes, I can listen to this, and that's going to be like watering the soil with good water, instead of like, so for instance, I kind of like run away from Twitter, Bitcoin Twitter. Everybody's fighting. And this is something very interesting with the world. Few people, I don't know the percentage, but not that many, but few people stayed like in the old part of society, still in the polarity. They have not integrated anything. They're still fighting. They're fighting. They're fighting. And I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested. No energy for that. Zero.
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and they're going to destroy a lot. I sometimes, I have felt sadness with Bitcoin a little bit because it's like, oh my God, everybody's going to destroy it. And then I thought one day, no, it's not going to be destroyed. As long as I keep creative, it's not going to be destroyed. So
Yeah.
we have to keep on being creative.
For sure.
We have to create that,
For sure.
each one of us.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of Bitcoiners always talk about circular economies, and this is something that I've continue and always feel inspired to do, is to be like the start of the value chain, in a Bitcoin circular economy. And you're absolutely right as far as actually being the change, the financial change that we want to see with Bitcoin at the foundation of it. We have to be the people to basically say we're not going to accept value in any other form than in this one form, or this is the form that I prioritize, and this is why.
Yes.
Because you're right there. Because when I came into Bitcoin, it was like I started kind of coming into the community and listening to podcasts in like 2019, and so it was like the Bitcoin toxic meme was sort of at its peak right around that time, and through COVID and that stuff, and it kind of resonated with me. I think I kind of played along with it. I wasn't quite as harsh as some other people, but I think now you're absolutely right. It's run its course, and probably astrologically it's shown that as well, where now it's time to let go of that particular polarity, and the energy which is released from letting go of that can now be used creatively. It can be a shining example and a beacon for others.
It's like a moment of climax. It's like, okay, that's it. Everything is messed up, but I no longer concentrate on what is not working. And we had astrologically like a very good thing happening around February, where two planets that really define society met after 36 years. The last time they met, it was in 1989 with the Berlin Wall. So this time they met, it made 0 degrees of Aries. So everybody was expecting something big. And I said, this is like a complete reset. And I started feeling it months before. So I was saying, okay, what would that reset be for me? So I started to be paying attention to things, not trying to do something, but seeing like what were the changes in me that I was noticing. So I started noticing a lot of, I don't know if it's sadness, but it was like, when you're about to leave a part of your life, or something that you care for, and you have to say goodbye, you feel sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of did a closure. I said, okay, we're no longer there. And I started to withdraw. I think that I've been withdrawing a lot since November. So it's like 6 months. And just went completely in. And that's, what I was telling you before, like giving myself the space to move, or to stay still and not allow anything that will replace that feeling. Because you see, we're always chasing something. It's like the carrot.
Never, exactly.
We're chasing
never satisfied.
The high, whatever. Oh my God, we're gonna go to a party. Oh, I'm gonna go to a concert. Oh, we're gonna go to the beach.
Always be looking forward to something, right?
Yeah, like the dopamine. But I decided no more chasing for that. How would it feel to be just having a normal day with no highs that are? I mean, I feel happy in many moments, but
right. No, I know what you mean, though. Yeah, no highs versus like the pleasure kicks that we get, but instead like being genuinely content.
Like for instance, I used to be a person who did a lot of lists to do, and I would get a high just when I finished.
When you checked it all off, yeah.
But now I still do the list, but it's not about achieving. It's like so I can get organized.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit. So I do have my list, but I don't go like, oh my God, we have to finish this. Yeah, hey, relax. Are you hungry? Yeah, let's make a steak. Let's go for a walk. Sure. So it's less like a robot.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is the robot. I'm not.
Yeah, right.
So I have that definition. I sometimes when I get upset, who's the boss? I say, you're the boss. Good. Just don't forget that. And so because I'm the boss, I can go out and do my thing. So it's been interesting to watch everything fall apart.
Yeah.
and what how people have been detaching themselves from many things. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have this feeling for a while. It's like people are starting to look for real communities, like in real life communities,
Oh,
less
physical.
online,
Yeah.
more physical, slowly. Not like, not like the people, how to call the people that they hoard because everything is going to end tomorrow. There's a
Right.
preppers.
Yeah,
Not
preppers. Yeah.
not that,
Hmm.
but people who like I would love to have a community that understands about money, that is also spiritually educated.
Yeah.
Like it would be. I'm actually asking for a lot of stuff, but instead of looking for it, I've been feeling that if I resonate at that level, for sure I'm going to find that community. It's
Mhm.
going to find me,
Yeah. Right. It will form.
and that
Yep.
it will form. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm focused. I'm focused on like making sense with with my spiritual life, that it really makes sense. My psychological, everything has to make sense.
Hmm.
It has to make sense, so I can kind of upgrade to a different realm. And I don't know what's going to happen, but there could be. I mean, at this point, it's a joke because I was scared when the war started. That weekend, I was like, "All right, bye bye." I called my brother. All right, if I don't see you, da, 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 da. And
Yeah.
now it's a joke. It's like I don't even care
Yeah.
what they're
Yep.
doing. It's
Hmm.
like, please, people, start being serious. You can't play with the news like that. So I think a lot of people lost interest in many things. That's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of the spiritual communities, people who feel very similarly, at least, or at least have been feeling similarly. It seems to me that people that I'm resonating with were a little bit ahead of the curve. There's things that we start kind of stepping away from, as far as the old paradigms go. We start stepping away from them, and then a couple of years later, then everybody else is like, "Yeah, that's really stupid. Why?" So, and this, I don't know. This, I'm not trying to gloat or anything, but my one aspect I would consider of my personality that I've had since I was a kid is it always drove me crazy to see all of the other kids acting the same, like all liking the same music. And so basically it was like this innate hipster type personality. If you're familiar with the term hipster, it's like somebody who
Yes.
thinks something else is cool because nobody else thinks it's cool, kind of thing. But it wasn't that. It was more so just like, I see everybody kind of walking in lockstep here. Is it really worth acting in that way? And so I think that can be like a great wake up call whenever you see a large group of people falling into these polarized positions. First of all, I don't think that fundamentally the human experience is being about in a polarized position, because they're always external. By definition, they have to come from outside. I
Yeah.
don't. Well, I mean, I guess my fundamental belief is that flow, the soul, the uniqueness of each individual spiritual node is not designed such that we're all going to fall in lockstep when in accordance with universal truth. We're going to express ourselves in different ways. And so
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying that I think that polarity is always going to be an external thing. And so I think that's what makes me very uncomfortable when I see people falling into these polarized groups. And it's just like, you clearly are trying to satisfy something outside of yourselves. You're not actually acting from, some fire
But
within yourself.
but don't you feel like, I mean, for me, we also are polarized inside, but the whole scope of the Trinity, the whole scope of living in the now is that you're synthesizing whatever is at that moment,
Hmm.
colliding. So it's like a lot of shadow work. It's like, okay, this is projected because it's an expectation that I have, but if I really look at it from another perspective, I will realize that it's an expectation and it's not true what I'm
Right.
expecting.
Yeah.
So how am I going to synthesize that? Well, I'm just going to make sure that I understand that what I'm looking at is a projection. And that moment that I realize that and become aware of it,
Yeah.
that's the moment where you integrate it, because you go, oh, that's a projection, and you go, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
And that polarity stops being confrontational,
Right.
because you see it for what it is.
Yeah.
You just see it. Oh, it's a shadow. There's a light here, and
Yeah.
I'm doing like that, and I'm being projected. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. And I think that polarity, this gets a little bit more philosophical, but any kind of identity at the end of the day is sort of like a protection mechanism. It's kind of like an armor. And the worst thing that could possibly happen to identity is it gets attacked, it gets insulted, and it justifies it doesn't justify, it fights back whenever it feels like it's being torn down, kind of thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the identity, what I was saying before, is this: the identity comes from ideas. So
Yeah.
if you get so attached to your identity and you think that you are your identity, that's a problem, because the identity is what we pick up because of the environment. It's not there when you're born. When you're a little baby, I mean, you have children, they have no clue who they are. They're not going to go, I'm a cisgender.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 Yep.
I gotta say that,
I mean, you start as a blank slate.
Yeah.
100%.
So you don't have any identity. You don't have identity. The identity is picked up in the environment because of the religion, because of the gender. You're a girl, you're pink. You're a boy, you're blue. Or you're a boy, you get a baseball bat. You're a girl, you get a whatever, a doll, like stuff like that. And I'm not saying anything against these things, but identities get formed culturally. So they're like a result of culture.
Yeah.
And now see it right now. I mean, this cultural identity thing is like, probably I started noticing around the 2010s, and I was paying attention because my assistants in New York were all starting to speak and act weird.
Right.
And they were telling me that I shouldn't be saying those words, and I was like, what?
What? Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't speak that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm from Colombia. I can see whatever I want, because I'm not politically correct. So they were like, that's outrageous. And I was like, whatever, I'm the boss, so I can do whatever. I'm Colombian. I don't, English is not my second language. So I would just play, but I didn't pay attention, that thinking, oh my God, they're being brainwashed, and they're trying to brainwash me too. But by the time I noticed in the 2020, I think it was around the Me Too movement at 18, 19, that I'm like, oh, these people are crazy.
Right.
And then boom, everything that we got the last 6 years is like, and it's because they really, really think that identity is everything.
Yeah.
They don't see themselves outside of it. They don't even know that there's a life inside of the spirit. Spirit has no identity. We're all spirit.
Yeah. I think that we have been playing along. We as humanity have been playing along with identities for a very long time. It's just now there's a lot more of them, and they are becoming, such a big part of our lives, like outwardly. I think here's what it is. I think it's been like this always, or not always, but it's been like this for quite a while in recent history, where you are identifying as an American, or you're identifying as a Floridian, or there's got to be one that, you're identifying as like a feminist, or you're identifying as there's just tons and tons. It's been around for a long time, but now it's perhaps spirit is now pushing us into identities which are so strong and bring out so much pain that we have no choice but to shine light in the darkness. Because before, it was just kind of integrated into society, and it was like just a fundamental part, and everybody played along. But now people are looking at each other like you're insane. Like, what?
100%. But it's interesting because I mean, before, if you want to go back, people were
Yeah.
men or women. There was a gender thing, but not the way gender is viewed right now. Is like, okay, so you're going to be a mother,
Hmm.
stay home, have 100 babies. Well, not 100, but have 10 if you can, and the breadwinners, I'll go. So, and then, this idea of feminine, like all these things that they came in the 20th century, each one of them has really allowed the human to be more confused and more fragmentized inside. Because maybe you choose, and this is what happens with all the feminists, maybe I want to be a mother, but I also want to have a career.
Right.
That's what a lot of started having,
Why does it have to be
the
one or the other? Right.
yeah, well, you can do whatever you want if you manage it,
Yeah.
but no, society says this. Or me, I went to New York, and you went to New York to make it. Basically, that was it.
Hmm.
And I went over there, and I completely took the identity of the New Yorker. I mean, from the way I was dressed up, to the way I was walking, to the way I was speaking, to my, I don't know, my behavior, it was a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Because you kind of like have to, I don't know, act like that so you can actually survive that crazy place,
Yeah.
because that place is crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, 27 years, you must be joking. It's like, no, I'm not joking anymore, but that was a long time that
Yeah.
I had personality, but I threw it away. I left it behind in 2020.
Wow.
And when I decided to come here, it was the best thing that happened is that there was something that they were calling COVID. And I was like, yeah, I don't have to deal with people. I don't have to see people. People don't have to see me. I'm not even going to be bothered. I can play. So
Yeah.
because of it, I played with the idea that I don't have to do anything, and it actually feels great. That's how I got out of the matrix,
Right.
because I don't have to do anything.
Don't have
The
to do
funny
anything.
thing is, like,
Yeah.
I didn't stop working. I didn't stop not creating art. I've been more like I've been more capable of doing stuff in the last 6 years because I don't have time to waste trying to be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to feed the thing every day. Let's go to network. Let's try to find something. Let's try to
Right.
go to that. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, can we go out for a walk? Because otherwise, I can live in a cave. That's my problem. I'm a
Hmm.
hermit.
Yeah.
I get And the problem, there's a good thing about being a hermit, I'm super productive. So I'm not sitting down doing nothing, but I'm always doing something. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
explosion, explosion. So it's interesting because now it's enough time has passed by since that personality left. And now I see the difference. And it's like, wow, was I that person? I'm in shock all the time.
Right.
No, that I was that six
Yep.
years ago.
Yeah, I have similar experiences, in high school and college and with different jobs that I've been in. Yeah, you have a completely different personality, you have a different way of approaching the world. And there's very practical explanations as far as why this happens. Psychologically speaking, if you view yourself in a certain way, you will react to situations in order to fit that identity. And then on the spiritual side of things, thoughts are things. So if you are forming yourself into this specific person, that is, how you are forming yourself mentally, energetically, and you could say, like, on a crystalline level, this is how you are forming yourself, and your body and your actions will follow suit. So yeah, this is all
Yeah.
yeah, very
And
very
it's,
important to
and
let go of, or at least allow yourself to the fluidity of it.
yeah, and what I find, like, when you're talking, I'm kind of thinking this interesting thing. So I went down that path as well. Like with Bitcoin, then it was like the identity of the Bitcoiner, and the identity
Hmm.
of like the educator, and then the identity of the maximalist toxic Bitcoiner,
Yeah.
which I got to hear because it's like the thing is this is like I love Bitcoin, I love everything about it, but then it was like almost always preaching that the world is wrong.
Mm.
And so the identity was all the time like, but I'm an optimist. Is, yeah, but the world is fucked up, and
Hmm.
money is not working. And so I just got tired of that. And I was going to many conferences, started to talk, and one day I woke up and I'm like, I can't do this anymore
Right.
because I'm an optimist. I I can tell you that there's a problems with the financial system, but if I'm feeding it every day, I'm starting to have that identity, and that's not me. I'm the person who's always creating stuff. So I was like, okay, how can I find? And also another identity that is important because we're talking about them like that, and it's interesting to see. And that's one identity that I think that it has the same weight as the Bitcoiner, but it's the spiritual identity
Yeah.
with all the spirituality and stuff like that. And I
Yep.
see a lot of problems with people have not been able to integrate any of them, and they stay as Bitcoiners, toxic Bitcoiners, or these whatever gurus bypassing spiritual things, emotional things, because they have not integrated other parts. You see this a lot of people in spiritual things, they don't want to know anything about money. A lot of people in the money thing, they don't want to know anything about spirit. So it's interesting because it's like when I was with some of them, I was like, oh, these people need to know about Bitcoin. And then I go there, it's like, oh my God, the Bitcoin is like trauma people. They should be doing more inner work. So so instead of labeling them, because that's what I noticed that it was happening to me, it's like withdraw, integrate. That's what I'm doing right now. Just integrate everything and then see what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
Because a lot has happened since I moved out of New York. And
Yeah.
I don't want to feel the space that New York gave me with this other personality, another identity again, like the Bitcoiner. It's like, no, like I did I was going to many conferences the last few years, and I got so sick. I was in Colombia in January. I got really literally sick, and I came back home, and my body wouldn't. It was weird. I didn't. It was not the flu. I don't know what it was. It was like I was up to here, and my body wouldn't allow me to eat anything.
Mm.
I couldn't eat nothing. Everything was coming out like it was. And
Mm.
so I said, okay. I asked my body, so we're gonna fast, and I said, he says, well, not real fasting, but I was with the bone broth for like a month,
Wow.
lost a lot of weight, I was sleeping every day. It was like go back to sleep, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to meditate, but it was like, no, you don't need to meditate, you need to sleep. You need to just kind of erase the hard drive. That's what I did. I erased the hard drive.
Yep.
You need to reboot. And then I woke up in February. This was like beginning of January or something like that. And then 1 month later, I woke up and I'm like, and now what? Everything was different.
Yeah.
Everything was, but it was beautiful. It was a good reset. It's like I unplugged and I said, let's start rebuilding from wherever I am. And I started saying no to this, no to that, and then say, instead of just trying to keep things away, it's like I want to see what I can say yes to.
Mm.
And the yes is these places I've never given myself space for.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my yeses.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even know how to decipher them because they're more invitational towards things that I used to put myself very busy. I will find things to be busy with, talk to people about certain things, and not take care of me. So that has been the big change.
Mm. Right.
And
You first, putting yourself first.
yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. But what I do with what is it that I'm putting first is care. I'm a very caring person. Like I always been very caring.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is like one of my, I don't want to say fault, but yeah, one thing that I didn't know how to handle was that I could overcare.
Okay.
And it was easy, overcare. And overcaring for me means that I'm not taking care of myself. So I prefer to overcare and then take away the care that I need. And then I resent it. I get angry.
Mm.
Because how come I didn't have time for this? It's, oh, but you
Ah.
give it all here.
Right.
So I started saying, no, it's very easy. It's like a jar. You keep everything that I need. And if there's something left, I put it in the jar that I can give to others. Not every time, but when it's actually needed. So I've been more, I have a lot of, I don't know how to say, like awareness. If somebody needs something, now I don't do it immediately. I ask myself, do I want to do it? Is this the right thing for me? Do they actually need it? Or
Yeah.
I'm just naturally doing. So it changed my behavior
Mm-hmm.
in general.
Yep.
Of course, if people need something and they ask me, okay, but I'm actually taking care of that space, because before it was automatic.
Yep.
It was a given. It was a given. And I don't want to do that, because I'm for every time that I do it unconsciously, I'm taking something away from me that needs to be taken care of.
Right.
Because then I will demand that from others. You see, it's like if you don't take care of yourself, then you start demanding this from other people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel that with my kids a lot, because they're very, very demanding, and they're like presence demanding machines. And I'm finding myself right now at a phase where I feel very excited to, potentially build different things. And I have a lot of inspiration, but then the kids demand so much of me. And I have this identity, you could say, of, being the best dad that I can, being a stay at home dad, and doing all the things that I need to do for them. And, a lot of times it turns into resentment, because it's just like, well, I can't do this for me, because I gotta go and take care of this and this and this. And I mean, it's not their fault. This is ultimately, it's nobody's fault. It's just, there's a mismatch between being able to care for myself, or feeling like I'm caring for myself, versus caring for another. So the reality that I'm facing right now is perhaps, changing roles, letting go of this identity that I'm currently in, and looking at doing something different. So
Yeah, and then are they homeschooled so that you're with them 24/7, pretty much?
so my the younger two that I'm with 24/7, they are not school age yet. But my older son he's in school. So we homeschooled for a year, but that was like preschool, so it wasn't super intensive. But even then was a big, big struggle for both of us. And I think, both of us are happier, and he's doing well, being in school.
I also wanted to ask you, because I think I left you a message regarding German new medicine, because I've been practicing that too.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yeah, about my
Do you
son's
know anything
eye.
about it?
No, I don't, because you had mentioned that as something to look into, and I think you said you had a contact or something that you were gonna
Yeah,
reach out.
I do. And it works in the same way as the systemic constellations, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
around that area. Also was created by a German person, and basically it's like rewiring everything that we know about medicine,
Yeah.
and it's really putting together, pairing the physiological part with the psychological part
Yeah.
in a way that it's explained immediately. I mean, I've done a lot of traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture and that. So this when I discovered this, it was almost it was exactly what I needed at that moment to understand. So, for instance, uh, everything that is happening as a symptom in German new medicine is also already a resolution. It's like
Mm.
the body is already healing.
Ah.
So you
Yeah.
go to the root
Yeah.
of what is it.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, I'll give you examples, because I don't know, I cannot say anything about the eye, because I don't know that. But
Yeah.
for instance, um, I went to New York in November, and I started sneezing a lot. And whoever starts sneezing thinks, "Oh, I got a cold," right?
Yeah.
Started sneezing, and I kept on saying when I was there, "Oh my God, this city is so ugly. I can't believe that I lived here for so long." That's what I was feeling. I can't believe this city is so dirty.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I was with a friend, and then I came back and I was sick. I never get sick. I was sick, and so I started practicing this German new medicine. And what I learned, it was like I had the thing called the stink. And when you have that thing that you cannot tolerate the smell, you start sneezing, and you start like things come out of your nose.
Yeah.
So I was like asking, and they said, "Oh, so you're healing. You already went there, and you realize that you cannot stand this place, and then you go there and you're reminded of it, and the body's going like, oh, let's take it out, let's take it out." So a lot of these things started happening with
Yeah.
me, like the time I was sick after I came back from Colombia. Also, I was like, and then I realized, oh, I'm letting go a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm letting go this, because I made more space for me. So it was letting go, letting go. So hair was falling, these things were falling. And instead of me going like, oh my God, I'm losing my hair, it was like, yes, I'm in a moment of closure. So the body actually starts showing that you're healing. So that's the concept of German medicine. I'll give you some information because
That'd
it's
be
a very
great.
beautiful to not freak out with things
Yeah.
and just but I cannot say medical, like I don't know what's the state of your son. I mean, he
So
goes.
his eye, it's considered to be like a genetic, something that he inherited at birth. But again, as we were talking, genetics is just downstream of the energetic blueprint. But effectively, his eye is so misshapen that he's not blind. He can see colors. It's just super, super blurry. And the idea is that we can try to, from the mainstream solution, is we can try to correct his vision so that his brain will try to get that eye to work better. And then, of course, being who I am, I am more interested in the spiritual resolution because I know that this is energetic. So yeah, I mean, when they say genetic, it basically means from a mainstream perspective, typical Western medicine perspective, it means that it's unsolvable. There's nothing that you can do. But from a spiritual perspective, genetic means you can work through this together. So
Yeah, I'm sure I'll send you some stuff and some probably person or something that you can, because I'm in a group and people always telling, oh, what happened with this, what happened with that, and
yeah,
there's always solutions, and I'm kind of learning that. I'm like, wow, there's always a reason for something, and no
yeah,
longer freaking
yeah,
with the body, and it's all connected, just
yep,
really all connected.
yep, yep. People who listen to this might also get annoyed because I mentioned this book a lot, but I read a book called Can You Catch a Cold? And basically it analyzes the idea of being able to pass germs around that make us all sick. And scientifically speaking, it's not as obvious as actually it seems. It's not as simple as, you sneeze on somebody and they're going to contract the same virus with the same symptoms. And what I'm learning, because the arguments for this, or this different perspective, is super compelling, especially because when I began doing my shadow work and doing my sessions, I was getting sick all the time. Like I was constantly getting colds, and Sam, who was really a big part of all of those sessions, and especially in the beginning, we did a lot of sessions together. He would always say, this is just detox. This is what happens. Your body is physically getting rid of this stuff. And so, so ever since starting that began happening, I quit taking medicines. I stopped taking like ibuprofen and painkillers, unless I absolutely really, really need some relief. It's just like, this is what my body needs to do, and I trust it and I love it, and I'm just going to allow myself to be present. So if the pain comes in so strongly, or the discomfort is so strong, it is basically my body screaming at me, hey, you need to be present with this. Like, you need to allow this through. And I think that my son's eye condition is really no different. And ultimately, this is hard because I haven't really taken a stance other than, let's just try what the doctors are suggesting. But there's also the part of me is just like, his body is doing what it needs to do right now. And I think that if anything, if he is complaining that he cannot see, then that is our opportunity to give him help, kind of thing. And he doesn't really complain that much about it. And so I don't know that his body is necessarily ready to move into a different phase right now. I think that it's just kind of is what it is, and perhaps maybe we should trust the body to its own devices. It's hard. It's hard as a parent because we kind of have like a very limited window of time while his body is developing. And again, this is the mainstream perspective, but while his body is developing, this is our window of time to try to do something. Because once he reaches a certain age, supposedly it's set. There's no fixing it. Well, obviously anything's possible, but
Yeah, of course.
so it's like how do I not take action? But then at the same time, I would prefer to do what I know in my heart is true, but I just don't. It's hard because the fears are a lot stronger.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to give information. The whole thing with Germany medicine is called the five laws, the five biological laws. So there are five laws, and one of them is like viruses and microbes are important
Mm.
for the body,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a way of telling you that you're healing,
Yeah.
and even cancer and all that. So I'll tell you some information that is very straightforward. There's a lot of information there. Just listen to podcasts and learn. And the interesting thing with German new medicine is like it is taught so you don't go to a practitioner. You understand it, you learn it, so you deal with symptoms in the way that they should be.
Ah,
It's,
interesting. Yeah.
so it's I mean, I haven't taken the full course because because I'm doing all this thing about taking space. I decided I don't want to put more stuff right now, but I've done enough reading and meetings with other people that they're doing this. Very good practitioners. So I listen to a lot, so I kind of understand what's going on. And when I have a symptom, I immediately like, oh yeah, this and that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and part of the ways that you also talk to your body about it, like instead of for instance, like when I was sneezing, instead of going like I
Yeah.
catch a cold or something like that, I was like, it's okay to hate New York. I say to myself when I was there,
Ah.
it's okay not to like it. Of course, okay to. I mean, look at the street; it's horrible. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
So things started clearing because I was accepting. Because what was happening was my body was, they're called tracks. My body was reactive towards something that it was already past, but then I brought it back and
All
it
right.
brought a memory that made me, feel that I was healing towards those things.
Yeah.
Same with other things about letting go. So it's just the body is so, and that's why we started talking about movement at the beginning. Like
Yeah.
when the movement is so important, because if we slow down, and I'm talking about movement and more like slow movement, when we slow down in life and we kind of like catch up a little bit with the body that is denser than the mind, much denser than the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
then you actually start resonating and putting things in a more, like things can become more integrated than just your mind racing or the spirit wanting to be free, because the spirit wants to get free, just want to roam around. But the
Yeah.
body and its entity has so much wisdom that we do not allow the body to actually take those slow movements because we want it rigid. You see, even how people train in the gym, it's all like this side.
Yeah.
This, I don't know how to call it, lateral, like that.
Yep.
I've been doing a lot of fascia work, and it's all about the movement
Everywhere.
and the
Right.
rotation. It's like you rotate like the earth is rotating. So the more you rotate, the more flexible you are. But now it's not flexibility of like doing the split. It's more being able to, receive life in a flow, like a fluid kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dance,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so beautiful. And it works with polarity. So if you want to work with certain muscles, you have to go to the other one. So it's always finding this direction and finding, yeah, the right orientation, and then the body actually can really catch up with the mind and the spirit if you treat it with respect,
Mm-hmm.
with the good food, with the sleeping, the, I don't know, the sun. I go out. I'm very pissed because it's been raining a lot. Yeah, today it was a big one, but so I missed the sun a little bit. It's been like
Yeah.
10 days no sun. Because for me, every day, sun gazing 1 hour and a
Oh
half.
man.
That's
Right.
it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sunglasses. I've just I've kind of rejected the whole idea now. I mean, the sun feels so good on every part of your body, including in the eyes. Not like I'm looking directly at the sun in the noon, but yeah.
but it's like there, like I am out. And like I have a lot of red light in my house, but the glasses I don't, because I work with color. So when I put them on, it's like I don't see anything. It's like I can't. But if I have enough sun during the day, I'm okay because I already got everything from there.
Mm.
Obviously, everything in the house is red after dark,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes me want to go to bed early, which is great. But I don't overdo it. I think all this information that has come available is really good,
Yeah.
and they're all pointing to one thing. They're all pointing to one thing. Just allow the body to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm a little bit. I don't know. I want to pick up like. What do you think about biohacking?
I don't know a lot about it, but I would say from a spiritual perspective, it creates karma just like anything. So, if you
Yeah,
have the
for
intention
me,
of doing something, you're either going to do the exact opposite further down the road, or there's going to be some other side effect, you know?
yeah. For me, it's like an oxymoron. It's like you cannot hack life. That's like biohacking doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that unfortunately a lot of Bitcoiners are going to find the hard way
Yeah.
decisions of making, and there's a whole fad about injecting yourself with peptides.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in Medellin, there was a lot of people. There was a big conference, and there was a whole group just pimping those things. And
Really?
I stood up, like I'm like, what the f?
Yeah.
And people are like, Monica, why are you so aggressive? I'm like, this is not okay.
Right.
This is not okay, guys. No, and you guys are all very young. I mean, the millennials are between 30 and 40, and you still think that you're invisible. Like, no, this is going to happen. It's going to be so bad for your body,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to just look like that. So I just laugh because there's a lot of people who are pimping all these peptides.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever, people do whatever you want,
Yep.
but I think that it's going against nature for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I think it's taking things a little bit, again, it's taking life too seriously. I think that we're just we put too much stock in the material, and we put too much stock in science, quote unquote science, and what it's actually able to do. Science is basically just kind of a law of averages. It's a cause and effect kind of thing, and there is no there isn't really no case, especially when it comes to the biological sciences. There is no case where 100% of the time, if you smoke a carton of cigarettes every day, you're going to die of lung cancer. That's just not always the case. So, I mean, there's correlations there, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen 100% of the time. And that's just, to me, that's telling enough to say that there's something else going on. It's not like in, I guess, with physical sciences, if you drop a rock, it's going to fall at 9.86 meters per second, or, accelerate at the same rate every single time, where it's kind of like an underlying law of the reality that we live in. Biology is much more nuanced, and always is. So.
Yeah, no, and it's not 100% that's going to happen, but it was more my reference more again with identities. Like you want to look in a certain way,
Sure.
and then you're creating an identity based on what, like hacking by injecting yourself. And so I just laugh because I say, okay, do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if you're thinking more from like what is it that is same that I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not against tattoos altogether. I mean, I'm not against anything. I'm just observing behavior,
Yeah.
and sometimes I go, why do people have to tattoo everything, and or even put piercings? I used to have piercings before, but I know I did a lot of acupuncture. My acupuncturist told me that please don't pierce yourself a lot because there are certain points in the ear
Yeah.
that are very important. And so I did a lot of piercings. He was like, there's nothing there, and I also have a very big scar here. So this the energy here is not flowing. So it's
Mm.
about not allowing the chi and the energy of the body flow
Yeah.
because you're interrupting. It's a
Yeah.
whole it's
Right.
an interruption.
Yeah.
It's an interruption.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. Because with the peptide example, they're identifying, with I don't some guys that have the super, they have six packs or whatever, and like these supermodel bodies, and that identification in and of itself manifests in a way that, you're right, exactly, stops energy flow, and that manifestation comes in the form of peptides or whatever. That's an interest. That's a good way to look at it. I think is from a spiritual, from the spiritual side of things, is how are you interrupting how is the body's flow of energy being interrupted? And I kind of wonder similar things with taking vitamins and things like that, because vitamins aren't being grown on trees either. They're not like this perfectly natural thing that you just pluck right from the vine. It's gone through a factory and crushed and grinded and mixed with chemicals, and it's like, I mean, in
Yeah,
theory, that's a great idea. You think zinc would fix everything, but it's still this hyper processed
you know,
thing.
I I detoxed from supplements a year ago. It
Mm-hmm.
took me a while
Mm-hmm.
because I had been, for whatever reason, since 20 years ago, I was like, I was in this health thing in the 2005 or something. Everybody was like, oh, you should take this. Then I
Yeah.
remember like buying so much stuff that at the end, it's like, why even buying these things? I don't know. Prebiotics, postbiotics, guru guru, what. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So I had a lot, like, cabinet full of stuff. And then last year, I started saying, okay, how would I feel like to like start counting down with these things? And I couldn't just like do it cold turkey because I was ingesting them for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I did a protocol of like one by one. So I ended up, the only thing that I still take outside of the food is
Yeah.
magnesium. That's
Mm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else is on my steak. The zinc, selenium,
Yeah.
everything is. So I instead of spending a fortune on that, I buy very good meat and I have very good steaks
Mm-hmm.
that have everything with beef tallow and everything. So and it's been already a year. And but it took me, I think it took me like 3 months. I was just trial and error. Go reduce this, see how it feels, notate, I'm good.
Yeah.
This, and it was, I was intoxicating myself with vitamins.
Right. Right.
I was overloading my body with vitamins. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting because a lot of the things that we do are made out of habit,
Yeah.
and those habits sometimes we pick up. I don't know. One day you pick one thing, and then you say, "Oh, why not?" And then you keep on buying it. I remember there was a time. You remember this time with all the nootropics,
Yeah.
like 5 years, 6 years during COVID. Oh my God, I was taking nootropics, and I remember that I used to have heartburn, but I was like, no, these are good for my brain.
Yeah.
And one day I just took that thing, and I go like, whatever, through it,
Yeah.
and no more subscription, and no more, like it was acidity in my stomach,
Yeah.
and they were not good for me. But everybody was saying that they were incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting because we hear that it's good, that we need it, that without it our body's going to die, and at the very
Yep.
end it's like, no, we
Yep.
don't. So again,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you feel like it's rooted in the feeling that, oh, I'm missing something. My body is missing something, and you kind of skip the inner work of that feeling. You're like, okay, I can do something outside of myself to fix this thing, and I try that, and then the body reacts by having acidity in the stomach or something, to tell you, hey, no, this isn't an issue with the body. This is an issue with you, with your spirit, and this is something that you need to solve on that level, not by putting stuff inside it.
yeah. And the spirit is so wise because he will tell you, now that I've given so much space to it, it's almost like, it's not that I wait for it, but I am no longer anxious about anything. There's no
Mm,
outcome that I need to achieve. So it's like living in a space that is very tranquil. And sometimes I have to go like, oh, maybe I should be looking at things that I have to do, because sometimes I
yeah.
just forget because I'm in another state, and people go like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really good," but I'm not um, overreacting or over focus on stuff because it just, I took away that I don't know what it was. It was this energy that it was always running. And right now it's like I can't, I can't have that rhythm in my life anymore.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yep.
it's just acceptance, but not giving up. I have not giving up, of course. Like there's still things that I love doing, especially when it's creative. Like if I have a new commission and they want me to design something new, and I can put my designs into something, it makes me feel very productive and
Yeah.
very happy.
Yep.
But even if I don't have it, I don't feel like I'm less if I don't have a new commission every,
Right.
I don't know, 6 months, which
Yep.
was the case before. Like always trying to get more just for the sake of it.
Yeah, just for the sake of it. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also an important takeaway is that a lot of what we're discussing can lead to second guessing and overthinking. It's like, where's this coming from? Where's this desire to build a business or write a book? Where is this coming from? Is this coming from higher inspiration, or is this coming from some inadequacy or pattern that I'm trying to satisfy? And I think that at the end of the day, if you feel genuinely excited by it, that is the way, that is your spirit, that is your soul and your body telling you to take that action. And you may get 2 years into it and be like, okay, I get it now. I see that this came from an inadequacy, and you learn
Yeah.
something from it. Or you might get 2 days into it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that you might get that same sort of feeling. So, or of course, then I guess the best scenario would be like you realize, yeah, that was genuinely a very exciting, inspired action and thing that I created. So there are certain things that I think we have contracted as human beings before we came here. It's like I want to experience that, and it doesn't matter, where that, let's say, fleshly inspiration comes from. If it comes from something that is more external than internal, but if it excites you, then give it a shot. And but at the same time, be willing to let go when it's time. Like,
Yeah.
knowing what is this going to feel like when it's time to let go. And an example for me might be, I started a business selling things on Amazon, and what was hardest for me was to be able, because it was super cool and sexy, especially to people in, outside of you, because you're telling them that you're contact suppliers, and it's just like it's cool, right? And but then the biggest, scariest thing to me is that what I couldn't admit to myself is that, the business got to a point where it's like I didn't want to play I didn't want to play the game that I was basically forced to play, and in order to succeed, I didn't want to play that, and I knew that, but I couldn't like admit that to myself because I didn't want to let go of my identity with the business. And how do I explain this to the world? Basically, how do I show people, that I've essentially said, no, this is not it, or giving up, because, giving up has this negative, and it's not necessarily giving up. It could just be, I've learned my lesson, I'm done with this thing. Instead, the world looks at it more as like giving up. You're weak, this is, you're a failure.
Or did you say that to yourself, or you just say, well, I chose differently?
I still think that a part of me feels like I did give up. I still think that a part of me feels like I failed, like I could have done more. But then also, I do feel that I could not have continued and been happy down that path. Like it didn't resonate with who I'm continuing to
That's the
become and
most
grow to be.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. There are different things about giving up. Last year, it's interesting because sometimes it's just things. So I had a full life in New York, and when I moved to Miami, I brought storage unit. I brought stuff that went to storage unit,
From New York.
but I hired, I hire a service that they will bring me the stuff home whenever I need it, and when I hire them, that was okay. But then a few years later, I never needed anything. So a few years later, they changed the whole contract, and then they say, if you need something now, you got to pay $500. And it's like, what's the point of? And then the thing is like, okay, so can I go and pick them up? No, you can't. So what am I supposed to do? I said, well, you can actually get everything and move it to another storage unit. So I was for a year thinking, what do I need from that storage that I cannot live without? And I knew because I had all the content in photograph. And I was like, and you know what I had there? All my work that I produced in 7 years that I didn't sell, which is my work. Not things that I could sell. I mean, I could sell my work, but it was like, okay. So it took me a year to one day go like, how would I feel if I don't have it? And then one day I called them and I said, how much do you charge me if you destroy everything?
Mm-hmm.
They told me and I said, okay, let's do it. And I let it go. When I told some people were like, why are you crazy? And I'm like, oh, and the most beautiful thing is like, I felt so much relief. One, because I was like throwing money away, like a lot of money. 7 years of storage that I don't even need it. Just for what? I said no. I could buy satoshis with that. And then the other thing is like just the weight of having stuff that is not used or whatever. Like no.
Yeah.
And then I tried to tell people if they wanted things, but people were very like, oh, I don't want this, but I want that. And I said no, you gotta get it all. And because I had a lot of materials to create art, I had a lot, but people just wanted a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I said, no, it's all or nothing. So just let it go. And it was such a relief. And so when that happened, I started saying, okay, I'm going to do the same with everything.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff that I have at home that I don't use, all the stuff that I had company names that they were open when I was married, and then I got divorced, but I kept the name. So I closed everything. So the last year, basically, I took away everything that is related to my old identity, everything.
Yeah.
Bank accounts, LLCs, like you name it, anything that has slightly a memory of the past is gone.
Yeah.
And I turn around and go like, wow, I feel I don't have any
so much
weight.
lighter. Yeah.
So good. So good. And some people are afraid of it. I'm not afraid. I'm like, whatever. I feel free, more and more free. And I still have not finished because it's the whole scope. So what happened when I started working with this AI thing was like, I wonder if I can do an audit of all the stuff that I pay for, memberships that I don't need. It was like $3,600 a year in memberships. That is a lot of money.
Right. Yep.
Or stuff you don't know. So even the last one was one of the last ones was yesterday. I was paying, you know, how much like you pay for storage, like cloud storage here, cloud storage there, like you know whatever. Adobe is because maybe you need this. Apple, then Drive, then what's the other Dropbox, and then I was paying for this other one. It used to be really good. It was called Sync.com. But I was just not using all that storage, and so I did an audit and I knew what I have to let go, like every month. So I have to prepare if I have to gather the information. So yesterday was another one. I was so happy this morning. It's like, yes, another $160 that I'll have to pay. But it's more like, can I live with less dependency, with less vitamins, with less bullshit? Why? When was I attached to all these things? I mean, how many years was I building myself in New York that when I left, I had vitamins, memberships, stuff like that. I want that. It's incredible. So I feel very free right now. And that's one of the reasons why I started working with AI. I said, let's be efficient. Let's see where everything is leaking.
Yeah.
There's energy that is leaking here in the form of money, but also like I'm not taking care of this. There's these accounts that are there, and I'm not taking care of. So I'm actually taking care of those spaces, things, and cleaning it up, cleaning everything, and leave zero. funny thing, I realized everything, even Zoom, because I disconnect from Squarespace, Zoom, this thing, Sync, Adobe, like everything. Every time I'm gonna say no more, cancel, they're all offering me 50% less.
Yeah, right.
So wait, I was overpaying?
Right.
What?
Right.
So I'm laughing. I go, of course not. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. We are all overpaying for services.
Yep. Right. Yep.
And nobody's paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I heard something recently about AI, which was pretty cool, and it was that I think maybe it was some kind of prediction or something, and the prediction was that humanity will develop a technology which will allow the mind to be set free so that the heart can take over. And I think that there's a real opportunity for that here. Some people are going to be using AI for the very surface, for the old ways. They're going to create social media content. They're going to, create meal plans and nutrition schemes and all kinds of stuff to try to do things. But other people are going to improve efficiency in their lives, point out areas, point out areas in themselves which are inconsistent, challenge themselves, genuinely learn new things,
I created a whole dashboard. That's my dream, was to have an I used to do a lot of websites back in the days, around the time you were born, when the internet came out, and I needed to communicate with other people. I just started learning code. Like, I speak language, so I was looking at the code. I was like, oh, this is easy. Instead of this, I put this. So I never studied code, but I could code.
Yeah.
And people were like, who did your website? It's so cool. And I was like, I did it. Oh, can you do me a website? I said, sure. So I was like, I don't know how to do it. Who's saying you do peptides? You? Oh no, somebody just sent me a message. I know. This is funny because I think that the phones are listening.
Yeah, I agree.
You're right now, like, who's talking? Okay, so the interesting thing was that I forgot what I was saying. The train of thought. Oh yeah, with the AI, it's like I decided to say what would make my life easier, like to have everything in a dashboard. So I envision, okay, a dashboard with everything, because I have so many things going on. So that's what I created, like a whole system where everything is I become very productive. So I have time to do other stuff that sometimes is doing nothing. So that's what I would like to do nothing. But then everything else that needs to be done, it's there, happening. So I created a lot of databases. Like, I read financial charts. I don't know how to do that. So I created all these indicators based on astrology and everything. I'm
cool.
probably going to I'm not sure yet. I'm going to put it, because I teach astrology and I teach human design. So my students right now have access to this instrument. I call them instruments because they're instrumental to keep on learning using these devices are made out of database with information. Because I always love databases. Like I'm in love with databases because that's
cool.
All my work based on a database of information that I put. And every time I'm making a new thing, I'm just, oh, this is here. So I love to kind of cook with that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wanted to do that. And so I decided maybe I'm going to teach one class on harmonics, how to read charts, but based on harmonics. It's called Before the Candle. Even before you can read a candle, you have to understand what's going on with the wavelength. You have to understand how that works. And so I decided that for the class, I'm going to give them a little bit of information. And then lo and behold, I started creating all these indicators and all these scripts. And now I'm like, oh, this is genius. I could actually monetize it. But because I'm doing it for me, so I can make things easier. And then I'm like, oh, so, but
there's actually a lot of value here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, actually, sometimes Paul says, this is very valuable. Have you thought? I'm like, don't give me ideas. Don't give me crazy ideas yet. I need to finish this because I need to finish what I want to do. And then we do a session with the crazy ideas of how can I monetize it. But yeah, a lot of people want to monetize whatever, social media. I don't. I actually use AI, as you just said. It just made it make sense. Um, so I can have more space for my spirit, and these things that are need to be taken care of are going to be taken care of in a way that are, like, I didn't want to have agents, because this is a funny thing. Agents, they're supposed to have agency, but they're going to make a lot of mistakes because
Yeah.
they're going to make decisions. And so I said no. So I basically confronted the idea. I was like, okay, do you want agents? No. I said no. I want to be able to code again. And so that's I've been coding. And so it's been a longer process, but it's been so much fun, because that part of my brain that used to operate years ago is back.
Yeah.
And it says something. I finish and I go, I love coding. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love it because it's very interesting. It's a part of my brain that knows how to work, but it has been used for other stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel very, I feel very fortunate and grateful that I've been able to use this machine the way that I'm using it.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a tool, and just like Bitcoin, just like the knife, there are good and bad uses, and we as the users of the tool can benefit from it the most, I think, when we're just present with it and understanding where the actions are coming from. Are they coming out of convenience? Are we abdicating more of our power to something outside of ourselves, or are we using it for empowerment? And it could go either way.
And energetically, you are also making the machine or whatever you relate to, and that is resonate at that level. So I'm not worried about AI in general. What I'm focused. I'm not worried, but I'm focused on the intention that I give to every single thing that I do with it. It's the intention that really is going to make this a different thing than any other thing that people are doing. And the last thing I wanted to comment, that I thought it was hilarious, because it is hilarious, that the Pope, from all people, start talking about AI, and then Amodei, which I did his chart, Anthropic's CEO,
Okay.
Dario Amodei. He's Italian. I did his chart like 6 months ago, whatever, no, a little bit less than that. And I was like, oh, yeah, when there was all this discussion about ethics in AI. And I've been writing a lot about the difference between morality, ethics, integrity, and principles. This is part of the core of my book is about that. And I was just laughing because they were at the Vatican, kind of asking permission. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then the Pope kind of like saying, universal basic income. And I go, oh my God, another socialist here. Like, don't. I remember this posted something on X. It was like, get a job. That's what I told the Pope. Get a real job. What are you talking about?
Right.
And then to the Italians, is like, because this is what I know about Italians. There's Italians in general really vow to the Vatican. There's nothing you can do. This country is so attached to the Vatican and the Vatican to Italy that they will always try to have the permission. I was amazed to think that somebody from, like, an atheist from Silicon Valley is just going and saying to the guy who cannot control the pedophiles in his church,
right,
is going to tell them what morality is. Like, AI is not moral. I'm like, go and take care of your people first.
Right, yeah.
And then let us be sovereign.
Yeah. Let us be decentralized. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's incredible. And that's the ugly part of what I see that is coming. And I didn't want to talk anything negative today because I am very hopeful, but the more lack of authenticity that we have, and we consent to other things, all our rights are going to be taken away if we are not in the present moment understanding what's going on.
Right.
Because we need to have a lot of presence with that, like understanding what you consent to and what not, what you're going to put in the body and what not, and just think of it. Is the last day of your life, is this what you want? that's how a lot of the people out there are functioning. It's just like making this life a survival thing when it shouldn't. It should be a thriving situation,
Yep.
not survival.
Yep.
Because when we're surviving, we don't make the best decisions because we're with fear.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, please elevate that state to the place where whatever decision I make for anything is just from the highest possible. So the outcome, if there's one, it's always going to be okay. At least it's wholesome, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yep. That's and that's why letting go of these identities is so important, because they have their time and their place, but eventually you just need to be able to let them go so that you can take that next most highly inspired action. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck at a certain point. So,
you know what? I feel, I don't know when was the last time we spoke. Probably 6 months ago. Or,
I looked. It was well, the podcast came out in July, so it was coming up on about a year ago already.
Okay, I sense you very different. You're more calm. Not that you weren't, but you're more. I sense a lot of inner peace, like a lot.
Okay.
And not like acceptance, like accept it, but not acceptance like of like giving up, but more like, oh, life is like this. This is what I can do to meet life. So I sense that. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, for sure. Yeah, I feel like the last time, this like feeling that we had talked about of always wanting more and having that carrot in front of you. I still feel that carrot, but I also am willing to accept when it is time to try to go for the carrot and when it's time to let go of the attempts to get the carrot. I mean, that maybe doesn't make sense, but it's like, yeah, just take the inspired action when you can, and be okay when it's time to be done. When it's time to be done with that inspired action, like move on to the next thing. You learned what you needed to learn. You maybe not even know what that lesson was, but yeah, there is a lesson there. You just don't see it maybe right away.
No, and yeah, and what I sense is like, again, it's, I don't know the word, but it's like accepting. It's a beautiful word, but I'm trying to think. It's like when you actually are living, emanating like your life as it is. It's like, this is what it is. And then you'll know if you have to go right, left, in front, or the back. Because I remember before, like, you were more, I don't know if it was anxious, but more worried, or more like, oh, I want this, I want that. And you were there, in the fight.
Right.
And now it's like, you're not.
So it's okay. Right. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool that you notice that, because I do feel a lot more that way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, there's a big difference. I mean, not that you weren't like, it's a big difference. It's more like, it's like you're maturing, more spiritual. Like, you really allow spirit to be part of your life, and so that's the only thing that is really driving you, as opposed to the outside. I mean, not that it's not important, but it's just, it cannot overtake. That's the whole thing. It cannot overtake life.
Right.
Because people let that overtake them, and that's when everything becomes a problem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because you can kind of play in both fields. In fact, that's kind of the model now that's becoming, I think, increasingly, I would say, more synchronistic in my life, or at least what I'm seeing from other people around me, is that they have a level of spiritual acceptance, so and faith, I guess, in their highest selves. So they're willing to do what needs to be done on a vibrational level, but then when those things are ready to play out, let's say they begin solving, they begin manifesting, then it's like, all right, this is my action time. This is when I'm going to play around in the third dimension, and I'm going to start and I'm going to build. But I'm going to do it in a more fluid way. I'm not going to be attached to the outcomes. I'm going to enjoy the building process. And then when I run into problems, that's when I go back to the fourth dimension, or the fourth density, or fifth density, whatever term you want to call it. But you're going to go to the energetic side, and you're going to say, I'm kind of stuck here in the physical, and I know what I feel like when I'm stuck, because this is all my programs are starting to kick in, right? Like we have similar programs with anger, and my anger is and rage as well. So like for me, when I run into problems, oftentimes anger comes in, and I just want to like beat through the wall, like physically just break through, like there's nothing that I can't, nothing I can't do. I'll just break it, until I get through. And now I'll run into that. Don't get me wrong, but it is a lot easier now to sort of be like, okay, I'm stuck here. I need to go back to the energetic. I need to sit with this. I need to work on this. And actually so Sam had a retreat down in El Salvador, and the way that our sessions worked throughout my time there was the dojo space, as we called it. So there's the space where you're doing the meditating, the intuitive movements, the intuitive sounds. And then after a while, you'd just feel content. You'd be like, okay, I can go and sit. And so we would go and sit at his table, and then we would just talk from more of a mental space. So it's like you have the work here, the things that don't really make sense in the mind. And then it's like, all right, this feels good. I feel good. I'm ready to move to the other side. So literally on the other side of the room was a table, and we would just sit and we would talk about stuff. And then after a while of talking, it's like, all right, I'm starting to feel some stuff. I just don't feel comfortable. I'm talking from a little bit different place now. Time to go back to the dojo and do the work there. So I think maybe we're in this point of transition as human beings of learning we're just bouncing back and forth between the two. I'm hoping that eventually these two will just integrate so that you can become even more efficient, right? So it's like when I run into these problems, this discomfort, I'm able to resolve it just like that. And
because you acknowledge.
Yeah.
You acknowledge, and this is, sorry to interrupt you, because
no, it's okay.
It is the awareness. It's the awareness that brings a different stance. Because you recognize in that moment, oh, okay, I see it differently. And I do feel it, because I'm really feeling the energy. By the way, I wanted to say that I didn't want to cancel today, but the rage was there. And after talking to you, I feel so calm.
No, okay. Good.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Because it was like, no, I'm going to do it. Because I said I'm going to do it. That's why I kind of spoke about it at the very beginning, so it would come out and it wouldn't be there lingering. But it's been such a pleasant way of talking, and your rhythm and how you are communicating, and how it's being felt is really amazing, because it just brought a lot of calm to my body. It just brought me that, so I want to thank you.
Yeah,
it's very beautiful.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. Yeah, because similarly, I was like, when the notification came up, that's like, shit, I have that call tonight. I thought it was tomorrow. And I was like, well, I'm not going to, I also was the same. I'm like, I'm not going to cancel. I told her I was going to do it. But I was really tired. I was like, man, I kind of want to just lay down, but, and similarly, I'm feeling very energized now at the end of this conversation. So.
Yeah. So beautiful, and I'm so happy that you did that retreat in El Salvador. I think we spoke a little bit briefly after that, and you have been like life changing for you as well. Like it was something profound.
Yeah. So it was very profound for sure. My favorite story to tell is that I remember laying on the floor of the dojo part of the house right at the end of the session and just kind of laughing to myself. Hopefully you'll get this reference, but it's like I'm looking around and, I'm laying on a concrete floor. It's dirty. There's like a bunch of farm birds outside clucking, and there's no glass in the windows. It's just open. You can hear the ocean. There's electricity, but it's a very, what's the word, rudimentary. It's a very, very simple little
Yeah.
building. I'm just laying there. I'm like, this is like the most punk rock thing I've ever done. Like, this is,
Yeah.
and I wasn't doing drugs. Like, people think you go on a spiritual retreat and you're doing ayahuasca and you're going like no, this is all me. This is just like, I come into this space, and this space is so powerful and so safe that I can just allow my body to do what it needs to do. I'm far away from everything that I know and everything that I identify with a very long distance across the world. And this is all I need, like, in this moment. It's just, yeah, it was super profound. And then what was crazy is that like 2 months later, I got really sick. So I actually just got over it, but it was diagnosed as mononucleosis. And
Oh,
yeah, it was awful. My whole body got super weak and was very weak for a time. And actually, you'll appreciate this as a human design person. My mono is notorious for enlarging the spleen, and I have to confirm this,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure my human design is that I'm splenic. Like, that's my
Yeah.
authority, I think, is that what's called. Um,
Yes.
so the fact that I got really sick a couple months later, and my spleen grew to like 4 times its normal size or something crazy like that, it was evidence to me that it was very much related to the work that I had done, in down in El Salvador. So
Yeah, your body kind of responding to because what happens, and you said that you didn't do any ayahuasca or anything like that. The other day somebody was joking, I think it was a practitioner of the systemic constellation, that says a lot of people go and do ayahuasca, but other people come to me to do this. It's raw. This is equivalent to, I don't know how much acid that you can have, because what happens is like you connect at that level. You don't need you don't need the purge that you have with the plant medicine. You don't need any of that, because it is happening
mhm.
in another dimension. But
Sure,
it is happening
right,
anyway.
yeah,
So it's raw. I'm a person who's never done any kind of substances like that, and I always wanted to do this raw with myself and see how far can I go.
hmm,
And maybe I'm crazy because I'm believing all this. Maybe that's always a possibility, but I don't mind being this crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It doesn't matter. But yeah, it completely makes sense that after the journey, you felt like, and this is completely with the GNM stuff. It's like you you clear everything, and then it shows up in the body, and it's showing you that you're healing,
hmm, yep,
that it was there, but it's coming out. So that's great.
yeah.
So you feel better right now?
Yeah, I do feel better now. Actually, I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold right now, but I think that it has to do with moving. So we're in the middle of moving to
Oh,
a new house, and the energy that I feel already about the new house is very, very potent. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's pretty bright, and I think that what we're all shedding, because all the kids are getting stuff too. I think that we're all just shedding the old stuff in this house. But, and like I said to you, I mean, I think that at this rate, we're doing so much spiritual work as a family that our external realities, our living situations just can't help but change, because we're changing so much every year. So it's like every year since 2018, I've moved. There's one year where I didn't have to move, but other than that, we've made a move every year since 2018. It's been crazy.
oh, okay. So you're shedding. You're
Yeah.
getting used to another.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yep.
So good luck on the move.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've been going at for over 2 hours, so maybe this is a
I
good time
know.
to wrap up. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, this was lovely. This was I like the way it went, because nothing happened, but everything happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like there was not a big like, oh, I'm gonna talk about this, or like, because that's the feeling I had this morning. It's like, do I have to prepare something? And I said, no, don't prepare anything.
Yeah. Right.
Be you, just
Yeah.
be you,
Yeah.
and let it unfold. And if you need to talk about certain things, you do. So that makes me feel very happy and very relieved and very much in tune to who I am right now. So thank
That's
you for
excellent.
allowing that.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And yeah, well, yeah, when you say, I mean, when we both say that interacting with one another has, changed our present energies, more positively. I hope that serves as an inspiration to the people who listen too, because you don't have to construct a bunch of mental models for the people in your life who, thinks you maybe think need some help. Instead, you can be just a beacon of light for them. And, I think that transurfing has a great model for this, which is effectively viewing that person as how you want them to be and nothing more. So, contributing your thought energy in a way that will inspire you to treat them as the person that you want them to be, but also help construct them as the person, so letting go of the projections that they're kind of throwing at you and creating a new opportunity for something different to reflect back. So it's not, as much as we like it to all be mental and be like Bitcoin, it's like, well, this is better money because of X, Y, and Z reason, and the Fed does this, and this is cheating, and this is lying, and look at this evil person who's, instead of all that mental stuff, it's like, hey, look at how my life has changed, look at how I've become inspired, look at what I'm creating and the value that I'm offering and how it's coming back to me, just because and again, they make the connections. It's not even you explaining it, it's just you doing it.
You said what I usually say in my work is like, I create a platform for other people to connect to themselves. That's written in my
love that. Yeah.
So just create space. We just create a space so people, whoever is listening until now, thank you so much. And but this was a conversation that I wanted to have with you, and so if there's other things that are sprouting from it, great.
Yeah.
If not, a beautiful connection with you today.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't be a stranger. I'll send you information about. I'll send you the information I have.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll put that in the podcast description. Maybe hit on what's your website? I'll put all that in the description. But for those listening who want to visit,
I'll send you my website is, I'm actually going to relaunch it in the next 2 days. You can do monikabravo.com with a K, and it's going to direct you to Studio Fearless Ideas. It's easier to remember my name with a K.
Yep.
It's going to direct to that. So yeah, in the next 2 days.
Easy peasy. Yep, I'll link that, and then I'll also link the Italian guy who you did a session with.
Tiziano Sguerzo and his systemic constellations, and then GNM, I think. These are things that I find that they have a lot of value. They have been really important in my life in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And these are getting more track right now, and I think it's right because people are really wanting to work with trauma. People are really interested in working in certain things. These systems are perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great tools. For sure. Yeah, and it's not about being attached to one. It's about using them as tools. Pick them up and put them back, and use them again when you're ready.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this has been great, and look forward to it. I'll let you know.